Okay, moving on to the next big thing that I've been waiting to do for a while, replacing the tires. I've already done 3. Did the 2 front drivers and the passenger side rear. Still working out a couple kinks with the CTIS. I'm going to go over that later. I'm going to go through the procedure for doing a tire change. I'm going to be doing on this one here. A bunch of other people on YouTube doing these. Watch their videos, so it made it a big help. Probably a couple little things that I tweak and do it on my own. Thank you guys for all that hard work and tips. I'm going to link some of their videos in the description if you want to see theirs as well. Obviously, truck's off. Got the front tire and the opposite side rear tire. Wheel chuck. And then I got the jack set up. I had to put a couple scrap 2x4s to bring it up just a little bit higher. The jack stand piece, which is funny. I didn't know what that was when I got it in the truck, but now I do. Lift the tire up. First thing I'm probably going to do is spray some PB Blaster, hit the lug nuts. Once I get it jacked up off the ground, you got to open up the valve stem, put all the air out, remove the CTIS hose, get the wheel off, and I'm going to use the shovel trick for some of the other ones. My buddy was here to help me, but I'm going to attempt to do this by myself. Alright, here's what I used for tools. 9/16 wrench, 7/8 wrench, 5/16 wrench, a couple different adjustable wrenches, 3/8 and 1/2 inch drive ratchet, 6mm Allen key. I used mine just on a ratchet. 15/16 deep socket impact, 1 1/16. You only need this if you have CTIS armor on your wheels. 32, as you were, 38mm impact, a 9/16 socket. I just happened to use an impact. A couple different pry bars, a little mallet, some O-ring grease, valve stem and core tool, tire pressure gauge. If this thread chaser, kind of being a airhead while I'm recording this, and I don't remember the thread pitch, but I'll put it in a caption and a link in the description. This is, again, not a needed thing, but it makes it much easier and less chance of messing something up. Then I have a brush for cleaning it out. And then I mean a vice grip, little pick and small screwdriver for some of the O-rings, impact, breaker bars. These are my broken breaker bars. You can get better ones than Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight. I got some old diesel here, plenty of rags, need plenty of this. Also flathead shovel, and I bought this bead breaker tool off of Amazon, and it has worked way above my expectations for like the 60 bucks or whatever that it cost. I also ended up using some 4x4s from time to time. You'll also need a bottle jack and stuff to lift up your truck. Okay, here's the parts that I have prepped and ready for each tire change besides the tire. I got these parts from a mix of different places. Military vehicle parts, MV parts, Midwest military, and some of them I just acquired on my own. 21 ounces of these balancing beads, O-ring for the inside of the rim. I bought new valve stems because I knew some of mine weren't the proper valve stems. They were in rough shape and everything, and I didn't want to get all the way through the project or taking a wheel off and have an issue where this was jacked up and I couldn't put it on. So I bought new ones of these for each of the wheels on the truck, but the only thing you really need to replace on them are these gaskets. And then these are the seal washers that go on the Banjo Bolts for the CTIS hose. If you don't care about that, don't worry about that. And then also those little O-rings. That O-ring right there is going to go in between the elbow and the hose, and that's the one that goes from the elbow to the valve stem. Well, another casualty. I just broke another breaker bar. This one broke right off at the 1/2 inch drive. So what I'm going to try to do, since I haven't had a chance to exchange this at Harbor Freight yet, is take that off and put it in there. And hopefully I'll make it the rest of the way through this. It's not exactly the same, but I got it to fit in there. Third breaker bar broken. And I still got 3 that are being stubborn. So I'm really hoping I can put my ratchet on here without breaking it and use that for leverage. Got the CTIS off. Hopefully I'll break those. Wow, okay, got them off. Used my 18-volt impact, and just after beating them for a couple minutes, got 2 of them off, and the last one I put the bead breaker and my ratchet on, and it broke free. So now I'm going to use the shovel trick to get it off, just sticking a shovel underneath, walk it off the best I can without it jacking up any of the threads, wheel it over in the garage, and start getting it ready to break the tire and the rim apart. Okay, got it in the garage. I'm going to spray a generous amount of PB Blaster on all the wheel studs, get that CTIS bracket off, and what I'm going to use is some old diesel and pour it on the bead, and it starts soaking in, and that's worked really well for me. Alright, while I'm waiting for the diesel and the PB Blaster to soak in, this is where the thread chaser comes in handy. I'm going to chase all those threads to get all the paint rust and all that off, and then I got this little brush to clean the threads every stud or two, because it gets real bogged up and then it doesn't cut as well. Alright, got the threads all chased out, so now I start backing these off. Alright, got all these off. Some of them are really stubborn, but I didn't have any studs spin free. It did happen on one wheel. I actually got that wheel over there. It's going to be my spare. But nuts are over there, so now I'm going to start using the bead breaker. Next part is taking this out. It's the little insert, and I just realized on this one, god dang, this is not good. The rubber part of the seal looks like it's all freaking ripped, and I don't have a spare one of these because generally they're not really bad. Okay, got everything fully taken off. Spent some time cleaning up the rim a little bit. I'm not gonna get too crazy. I really don't care how it looks. I care about how it functions. To replace the valve stem, let's take this 15/16 nut off. Shouldn't be tight, just comes off. Put the new one in, and what I noticed, like I can tell this one's actually a little over tightened with the other wheels. Basically bring the valve stem part flush with the nut, and that's more than tight enough. Alright, it's a couple days later. I got another one of the bead locks in, and it actually has like the same problem as the other one did, just not as bad. I'm not really happy with that, but I need to get all this put back together, and this one's not as bad. I'm going to move forward with using this one. So I got the tire here. Make sure you don't have any dirt or anything down in your tire. Mine had some dirt and other stuff in there, probably stored outside or whatever before I'd gotten it. I'm going to mount it with the tire date codes facing out. So you have to find them, which is right here. This is your date code. When I put the metal rim in it, you got to make sure that this side is the one that the cap is going to go on. So just keep that in mind later. I have the bigger part of the rim. I need to lubricate the O-ring and put it in there. I got the bolts out of the insert, and that's got to go in there. Kind of do the opposite of what I did before. You just bend it and fish it in there. And you can't forget, before you get that all in place to start clamping the rim up, put the balance beads in there. The way this one works is it's kind of double plastic. You just throw the whole packet in there, and I guess the first time you take it out for a drive, it kind of all disintegrates, which makes sense. That way you don't have a bunch of loose beads and everything laying around in the tire. I'm gonna start doing it. Take the beads. Alright, so I'm getting the tire lined up to put on the bigger part of the rim. Where the bolts go, you want that to be across from this part on the rim. This is the short stud that goes underneath the CTIS bracket. I'm going to line that up and then drop the tire on here and put the O-ring in, put the cap on top, and start tightening it up. Well, I guess I didn't hit record on my phone to show putting the tire on the rim. You want to make sure that none of the rubber on the insert folds over. Also, when you're lining this rim up, you may end up needing to bend the valve stem a little bit to come through this hole as you're tightening it down. And also the little nut that's on the back side of the bigger part of the rim, you might need to help that pass the edge of the tire. Alright, got all the rim studs tightened down all the way. I have to put that CTIS bracket on and then get the CTIS valve and hose all ready to put on. Here's the hose and everything. I'm going to prep and get ready. The O-ring right here, that's the one that goes in the big side of the elbow. There's a small O-ring tucked in there that the camera probably won't pick up on. That one's kind of a pain in the ass to work out. I'm going to get all that taken care of and mount it on the wheel. Alright, got it all hooked up. My little compressor took forever to fill it up, but I got it to 80 psi. So now we're going to put it on the truck. It's nighttime, ugly, cold, rainy. It's probably, is it below freezing yet? I don't know. Right, but that's very, very cold here in South Texas. I'm just going to record it from in the garage, just mess around with it. This is going on a rear, so you have to, before you get it on the lugs, you have to make sure that your CTIS is going to match up with the proper lug where the hole comes out of. So you'll take some time to line that up. Luckily, I got two people here to help me with this because this is a hard part, trying to get it on, get the first nut started. Then we'll get everything tightened down. That should be it. Just a quick note about mounting this hose and everything on. I've noticed none of these line up well at all. Some of these 6mm cap screws seem like they're going to cross thread and it'll pull it into place. On two of them, this being one of them, I needed to take that valve stem and bend it like up and over in order to get these to line up enough to tighten it down. And some of these older ones like this, you can work them so they get a little bit more because they get real stiff and don't want to move. But don't expect all this stuff to line up easily. You're going to have to wrestle with it. Alright, we got it on there, torqued it down decent, but since it's cold and nasty, I'm just going to stop for the evening here. That's pretty much it for a tire change though. If you have CTIS armor, you'll put that back on. Obviously, if it wasn't so late, I would be taking it for a ride to get those balance beads to kind of break up and go in there. Gonna check tomorrow to see if it has any leaks that weren't obvious, and then double check everything. Tire change was a success. I've actually had them on there for almost a month now. I took my best takeoff and made it as a spare. It's a date code 2015. Barely has any tread on it, so I have a good spare. I have 4 brand new tires. I mentioned it at the beginning, but I didn't actually say it. I have the CTIS armor now. Was able to find someone who had that, and they sold me 4 of them. Kind of like a unobtainium thing nowadays. I was going to go over in this video what I needed to do to get my CTIS to function. But I decided not to do that because the video for just the tire change ended up being longer. And the reason why it's dragged out and I haven't made an update in so long is because I've been spending so much time trying to get the CTIS to work properly. My next, maybe not the next video, but I plan on making a complete dedicated video just to the CTIS, what I did to troubleshoot. It's been a huge pain in the ass, but I'm determined to get it. I only got one little more problem to work out. And then I have some other small little projects, but the video got long, so I'm gonna make this just about the tire changes. And I'm gonna wrap it up with that.